talking about here, I mean, we were talking about squats, these explosive types of power types of training.
Right.
And this is a really important field because, you often hear about people talking about the loss of muscle mass as we age. You talked about losing type 2 types of muscle fibers more readily than the type 1. So these are the types of muscle fibers involved in that explosive type of power type of, exercise. And, people don't think about how power decreases with age, how strength decreases with age, and how that affects our quality of life, how it affects our physical independence, our fall risk.
Right.
And so I think just focusing on this type of training, I mean, the creatine is the icing on the cake, right?
Yeah.
But just focusing on doing these types of multi-joint compound types of lifts, which is something that in the past, I would say a good year now, a solid year of doing CrossFit type of training where I'm doing strength training, I'm doing resistance training, strength training, and high intensive interval training that's including the types of stuff that I'm used to doing, biking and rowing, but also adding in, doing some drop sets with front squats with the barbell and things like that.
Yeah. It's super important. So this velocity or power training or a variety training, first we got to get people to move and then allowing them to give some type of benefit to their training program. So creatine is probably the one that will be number one when people select it, even probably more than caffeine nowadays from an exercise training capacity. So it should be considered. It can have a lot of substantial beneficial effects. And as we get older, after about the 4th decade, unfortunately, we start to lose these type 2 muscle fibers. And so exercise has to be foundational. And if anything else can be beneficial, protein, creatine, I'm all for it. Yeah.
You mentioned some of the anti-inflammatory effects of creatine, particularly in the context of more endurance type of training, people that are perhaps running marathons or just clocking in a lot of hours of running or cycling per week.
Right.
Is that so? I think that goes into some respect in the recovery sort of bin, right?
Yep.
And I'm wondering if that also plays a role in recovering from doing your resistance training or strength training, like on a recovery day, right? And certainly, there's a big component to sarcopenia, inflammation in sarcopenia, which is age-related muscle breakdown. Is there a role for creatine in preventing the breakdown of muscle?
There is. It's very mixed. So we don't have a lot of data. First off, creatine doesn't directly increase protein synthesis, which might be a surprise for a lot of reviewers. It sort of works in a magical other way, which we can talk about